So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Today we welcome you back here at BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Monday, October 5th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. I know I did, and I'm having a good day so far today as well. Hopefully you are. It is, in fact, Monday. It is a new week. Start of a new week. Start of the ALDS tonight. 2 Monday Night Football games on tonight. Lot of sports action. Weekend was packed with football. No baseball this weekend, but was packed with football, and packed with some more football. So, college football, NFL football. Today we got baseball. NFL, tomorrow we got baseball again, more baseball. Wednesday, more baseball and baseball again, more baseball. Then Thursday you got football and baseball, and then Friday you got baseball and more baseball, and it's packed. This week is packed with sports, so it's an exciting Monday. I know I don't like Mondays. I hate them. I just despise Mondays, but the upside is the Yankees do play today, so that should be a good game. We start up our ALDS series with the Tampa Bay Rays. Yesterday was another full day of football. Week 4 of the NFL is in the books. Well, today, we got 2 NFL games on today, but for the most part, outside of these 2 games today, week 4, the 4th Sunday, I should say, of the NFL season is in the books. Monday night is tonight, with 2 games featuring the Chiefs and the Patriots. They got canceled yesterday due to a positive test by Cam Newton. And then the Falcons-Packers got bumped back to a later spot. Although I will probably be watching the Yankees game. I'll probably watch that first hour of that Chiefs game, and I'll watch the Yankees game because the Yankees are on tonight. So, with all that being said, these are our topics for today. Coming out of the 4th Sunday of the NFL season, NFL games / the Giants. I'll talk all about the games, talk all about the week's action yesterday. There was a lot of action, a lot of good games yesterday. We'll talk all about it. Then we got the fantasy football results, kind of just give you what each player did, players tonight, and stuff like that. So, fantasy football, my results. And then the last topic will be the Yankees, MLB playoff predictions, and the college football games. Coming out of another packed weekend with sports, another packed weekend with college football. So, it should be in a very, 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 very exciting podcast today. So, with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So, yesterday capped off the 4th Sunday of the NFL season, and it was another good one. It was another good Sunday for the NFL, another good Sunday for me as a fan, and hopefully it was another good Sunday for you as a fan. Even though the Jets didn't play, I did enjoy flopping around and watching some different teams that I don't sometimes get to watch because I am watching the Jets. Obviously, Sunday was a day. I've always said this, I love when the Jets play, right? I love to watch the Jets. They're obviously my favorite team. But it is sometimes nice, when they don't play. Not saying that I love when they don't play, but, sometimes it is. There's times where when they're not playing, I don't have to, worry about, gotta make kickoff, or, I don't have to do that. I can literally just flip on and off between games. I was watching a little bit of the Rams game, a little bit of the Bills game, a little bit of the Chargers game, saw a little bit of that Cowboys game, saw a little bit of the Bears game. I was going everywhere. It wasn't like I was stuck to the Jets and, was kind of in between commercial breaks looking up scores on my phone, how teams are doing. I was kind of just, looking at a bunch of different games. I was the Red Zone was on, then you had the Bills game, and it's just one of those, when the Jets play, and I love when the Jets play, right? Next weekend we'll play again on Sunday. I do miss not watching my Jets on Sunday. Obviously they played on Thursday, but, it's just kind of, cool because I could watch a variety of different games. I'm not stuck to just watching the Jets. I watched, like I said, the Bears-Colts game. I watched a bit of that. I was literally watched a little bit of each game, and I just kept on watching it. So it was good. So, it was another good Sunday of NFL football, which was exciting. Giants lose again. They moved to 0-4 on the season. We'll talk about that game first. Obviously, as I talk about the New York sports teams first. So we'll talk about the Giants game first. So yeah. By the way, I went 9-4 on my picks for yesterday. Not a great day involving picks. Just not an amazing day involving game picks. I was not expecting the Browns to beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense is just awful. Definitely was not expecting the Panthers to beat the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals, talk about a team that started off the season. There was literally talks, and I mean, I'm not trying to trash Kyler Murray all of a sudden, but there was talks about Kyler Murray being the MVP through the first two games of the season. And I said this too last week or 2 weeks ago. I was sitting here when we were going into week 3. The Cardinals could very well start off 5-0 because they had the Chargers, then the Panthers, and this upcoming week they got the Jets to play. So they're probably going to win this upcoming week. And now all of a sudden they lost 2 straight and they're 2-2. So we'll talk about that game. But I'll tell you what, it was very surprising. The Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins only had 41 yards. You're talking about a guy that sometimes gets 41 yards in one play. He struggled yesterday. Kenyon Drake struggled yesterday. Kyler Murray, through the first half, I think, he only had 34 yards, I think. He struggled a little bit yesterday. He did throw 3 touchdowns, but the yards and the completions weren't there. So, Cardinals struggle. They lose to the Panthers, who now all of a sudden the Panthers look like maybe a team that cannot compete for a playoff, but they're competitive. They've made each game competitive. They've been in each game. So, Teddy Bridgewater's got that team in an interesting position, and they're doing it without their star player, a star in the league in Christian McCaffrey. So, that is something that I really find pretty surprising out of Panthers. They're doing all of this without their star running back, Christian McCaffrey's on IR, and he should return 4 to 6 weeks. Now I'm assuming he'll probably miss another 1 or 2 weeks until he's back. I think 4 to 6 weeks. He got put on IR after week 1, I'm pretty sure, or week 2. So week 3, week 4. So it's been about 2 weeks. So he's still got 2 weeks to go. But if they get him back, you're talking, okay, Panthers not making a run for the playoffs, but they've been competitive. Teddy Bridgewater has had this team in games, and their best receiver, probably DJ Moore, has not produced that much. So Bridgewater's finding random guys to throw it to, finding random times to get good plays, and the Panthers have won. So the Panthers are winning games, so it's interesting. But let's run into the Giants game. We'll obviously go to the Giants game first. Giants moved to 0-4 on the season. Rams moved to 3-1 on the season. I'm going to tell you something about this. I'm going to tell you straight up. Giants defense is ridiculously good this season. I mean, their defense is very good. You're talking, they slowed down Jared Goff, okay, Henderson Jr., who's a good running back. He's a good running back. They slowed him down. They slowed Robert Woods down. They slowed Cooper Kupp down. They slowed that whole Tyler Higbee down, who a lot of people are all of a sudden saying could be the best tight end in the NFL. I disagree, but he's good. I'm not saying he's bad, but I don't think he's the best tight end in the league. A lot of people think that Tyler Higbee, they slowed him down. They only scored 17 points. I predicted the Rams to win this game 35-10. I predicted it to be an absolute blowout. I predicted the Rams to show up, just absolutely blow them out, especially against a solid Bills defense who has struggled a little bit this year, but, still a solid defense. They put up, 32 against them still? So they put up 32 against a solid defense. I was expecting against the Giants, who is a solid defense, but I would expect, the Rams' offense is just at times overpowering. I would expect them to put up 35. They did not. And the Giants are now sitting at 0-4 for one main reason, and that is their offense. Their offense can't do anything. Their offense can't do anything correct. They can't do anything. They have not scored a touchdown in 2 straight games. That's right. They have not scored a touchdown in 2 games. They've kicked 9 field goals in 2 games, or 6 field goals in 2 games. They have not scored a touchdown. They've scored the past 2 games. They've scored 9 points, and they have not scored a touchdown. 3 field goals by Graham Gano against that Niners game. 3 field goals by Graham Gano yesterday. Giants lose again because of their offense. And Daniel Jones making a mistake late in the game. He has made too many of those late game mistakes, and the amount of times he has costed the Giants this year is just unbelievable. Daniel Jones doesn't make those late game mistakes, you're talking about a Giants team that could be sitting here 4-0. Instead, they're sitting here 0-4 because one main reason, their offense and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is kind of the main reason. Daniel Jones, you could tell. The offense looks lost without Barkley. They just do. Because they don't trust their running backs, I feel like. They just don't trust them. It's not like Barkley where you can trust them in big moments. Hey, 3rd down and 10, we need you to get 10 yards. He can get that for you. They don't have that running back anymore. Yeah, make the argument Wayne Gallman. Make the argument Devontae Freeman. Make the argument Deion Lewis. I can't tolerate any of those arguments because I disagree with all of them. Devontae Freeman's not bad, but he's not Barkley, okay? Wayne Gallman's not horrible, but he's not Barkley. Neither of these guys are Barkley, and you could tell the Giants offense looked lost without a solid run game. They look lost without a solid run game, okay? Daniel Jones was tied in the team with rushing yards yesterday. 45 rushing yards. The second most was Wayne Gallman at 45 rushing yards. He led the team in rushing yards for the first, I think, 3 quarters. He literally led the team in rushing yards. That just goes to show you how bad the Giants' running game is. Okay, Devontae Freeman had 33 yards. Deion Lewis, 10 yards. Wayne Gallman, 45 yards. That's how bad they are. And I said it. They're missing their running game. They're not utilizing it. They really can't utilize it when you don't have that one solid guy like when you had Barkley. Losing Barkley is a lot more. It's not like, Barkley only tore his ACL. Possibly the second best running back in the NFL tore his ACL. Probably your best guy at offense tore his ACL. So it's not a big deal at all, right? Another thing with this Giants and it's the Giants offense. I shouldn't just blame it on Jones because it's overall this Giants offense. Jones, I think, coming out of that second quarter, endured 4 sacks. He got sacked yesterday 5 times. Okay, he did not have much time in the pocket. I noticed while I was looking at that game, every single play he had, he was getting under pressure. His footwork was horrible. He wasn't able to release the ball good. I felt like he got the ball, and he was just all of a sudden panicking. You could just tell, you could see it in his face. And I'm not trying to joke about this because I do joke about Daniel Jones a lot, but it's true. You could see it in him. He was not comfortable back there. What can you tell the guy when you got Aaron Donald rushing at you or whatever? But the Giants' offensive line is horrible. The Giants' offensive line is horrible. Daniel Jones has almost no time in the pocket. Pretty much has no time in the pocket to do anything. He gets the ball and he's got to force a throw. That final interception in the game, he got the ball. He made a horrible throw on it. That wasn't the offensive line. He just made a horrible throw. Daniel Jones made some bad throws, was pressured a lot, and Daniel Jones, he just can't do anything right now. He's struggling. What is this? His second straight game where he doesn't throw a touchdown and has an interception? This is horrible. I actually think Sam Darnold's playing better than him. And I'm not trying to joke around about that. I am. I really do think that. Look at the numbers. Darnold's numbers are better, and that's saying something because Darnold has not had a good start to the year either. And if this Giants team, because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're far from it. But in the NFC's division, anything's possible. The leader of that division is a 1-2-1 team. The second place team is 1-3. Okay, there's projections that the team that comes out of that division is 6-10. And if the Giants want any slim chance of possibly turning it around, they have to do something with Jones. I don't know what it is. I don't know how you can fix it, but they got to do something with Jones. They have to do something with Daniel Jones. You have to. I know he's in a new offensive system. I understand that. But he's just making too many costly mistakes, and he looks lost out there late in the game. And you can't have that in your franchise quarterback. So the Giants have to do something with him. The defense has been amazing. Defenses have been everything you ask for. It's tough to win a game when it's only not scoring a touchdown. It really is difficult to win a game not scoring a touchdown. Daniel Jones went 23 of 36, 190 yards, 8.3 was average, 1 touchdown, 5 sacks, and a rating of 65.7. So Jones once again struggles. And Goff too. Goff struggled too. He only had 1 touchdown, no interception, and 2 sacks. He had a rating of 103.1, but he wasn't the normal Goff. He went 25 of 32, 200 yards, 8 average, 1 touchdown, 2 sacks, and a rating of 103.1. Goff, he didn't have a bad game, but it wasn't a good game either. He was average. 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 200 yards. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything like, I expected Goff to maybe put up 3 touchdowns. It wasn't anything what I expected. So the Giants fall again. They are now 0-4 on the season. And they're going to have to turn things around quickly. I mean, they're not going to probably make the playoffs, and neither will the Jets, but all you could say is if you want any that glimmer, that slim glimmer of hope is you got to turn it around quickly. 0-4 is a tough hole to play from. I don't think this is the 2007 Giants team where they were started off 1-4 and they magically made the playoffs and they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year against the undefeated Patriots, and they were on the road the whole playoffs. I don't think that's this Giants team. But in order for the Giants to start winning games, they have to get Daniel Jones on the right track, because it ain't the defense, it definitely ain't the special teams, because their kicker's kicking 3, 4, 5 field goals every single game. It's the offense and Daniel Jones. They got to fix it. Jason Garrett's got to do something with this offense. He's got to do something with Daniel Jones to get fuel in this offense. This offense looks horrible. It looks miserable out there. It looks awful against a good, I mean, you could say, oh, well, they've played good defenses. Yeah, okay. All right. They played a very injured 49ers defense who lost Solomon Thomas. They already lost Richard Sherman. They no Bosa. Okay. All right. They played an injured 49ers defense. I mean, you got to do this offense just can't do anything. Period. Leave it at that. So now we move on to the other games. Eagles 49ers. Eagles won. Oh, by the way, that Rams pick I got it correct, but that just doesn't feel like I got the pick correct because it was a 17-9 game. Like, the Rams did not play very well. The Rams, they won, but it was one of those sloppy wins that you just kind of want to just move on from and just be like, okay, we won that game, but it was sloppy. Now we move on to the completed games as well. We move on to the Eagles 49ers. The Eagles win 25-20. Eagles early on in that game looked pretty good. You know, they drove. They got a score, obviously. Wentz. They got a score early. You know, they were driving. They were doing pretty well early on. And then the Niners started to crawl back, and the Niners kind of did what the Niners did, and they started to crawl back. They took the lead again. The Eagles offense looked horrible for the second and third quarter of that game. And then in the fourth quarter, their defense came up with a big play late. You know, pick six late. Nick Mullins made some bad decisions. I think this is the first game that the 49ers offense really showed that they're missing Garoppolo, missing Mostert. You know, this is one of the first games you could really tell this injured 49ers team was really missing some of their key players on both sides of the ball. I shouldn't just say offense, both sides of the ball. You could tell they were missing Bosa and Solomon Thomas. You could tell they were missing Garoppolo, missing Mostert. They were missing some big guys, and this is the first game I think it really showed. And the reason that is because they played against the Jets and the Giants with the two bad injuries, and then they played against the Eagles, who aren't a very good team, but they're probably better than both the Jets and the Giants. They could be maybe better than the Jets. They're definitely better than the Jets. The Giants, there might be a battle there, but the Eagles either way lose or beat the Niners. You know, the Niners, all of a sudden, people are sitting here, oh, could this be the decline of the Niners? I mean, they're sitting here 2-2, which isn't a great position, but they got to turn things around quickly, and they got to get healthy quickly. You know, some of their injuries, you really can't get healthy because they're torn ACLs, but, you know, some of their injuries, too, they can get healthy. They have to get healthy, and they have to decide what they're going to do. You know, Mullins just isn't the answer. You got to get Garoppolo back sooner rather than later and turn this early part of the season down. It's been a rocky season for Kyle Shanahan. So far, you know, a 2-2 start is not what you want. It's been a little bit of a rocky start. They got to be better. Now we move on to the Bills and the Raiders. The Bills won 30-23 against the Raiders. This game was a little interesting. You know, the Bills obviously played well. Josh Allen got hurt, then came back in. Raiders had a ton of players that were just injured, then they came back in. But the Bills won. Bills moved to 0-4. Next week they play the Titans, and then they play Thursday night against the Chiefs. So the Bills' schedule becomes hard. Their schedule coming up is difficult. So this will be the real test, I think, for the Bills. Hopefully next week they do play against the Titans. Who knows what's going to happen with that game. And then Thursday night they play the Chiefs. So the Bills have a quick back-to-back there. If they can beat the Titans, they got a tough opponent in the Chiefs. Don't know if they'll beat them, but the Bills are definitely riding high, 4-0 in the top of the AFC East right now. With another big win yesterday, Allen played well, Singletary played well, Diggs had a couple big catches, including, I think, one 50-yarder, which he went up one-on-one. It wasn't a great throw by Allen, but a great catch by Diggs. Overall, good play on that play. Couple nice plays overall just by the offense. Beasley had a helicopter catch for a touchdown. I think overall this Bills team looks like a true playoff team. It looks like a true team that could very well go on and win the division. So the Bills win again. They move to 4-0 on the season. season. Now we move on to the Colts and the Bears. The Colts won 19-11. Bears offense looked flat without, everybody was like, oh, Foles. Yeah, Foles was nothing what the Bears expected, I don't think. I think a lot of people expected Foles to really turn this team around. They scored a late touchdown with like 1 minute left that really didn't matter. They had 3 points the whole game. They scored a late touchdown, converted on the 2-point, missed the onside kick. They ended up losing the game. The Bears had multiple chances in that game to win. Or not to win, to score, and they weren't able to do it. Foles wasn't amazing. Offense wasn't amazing. Not saying putting back in a Trubisky, but I really don't know if Foles is the answer. I think at this point you might have to just go out and try to draft a new quarterback. I said this yesterday while I was watching this game. This is the oddest 3-0 team ever. Now they're 3-1, but going into yesterday, they were the oddest 3-0 team ever. You're talking about a 3-0 team that had to bench their starting quarterback, and they're still 3-0. Like, it's so odd. Usually a team who benches their starting quarterback would be like 0-3, 1-2, just not doing anything. They were 2-0, 3-0, bench their starting quarterback, bring in the backup. Now they're 3-1, but it's just funny. Like, an undefeated team, like, you're going to bench your starting quarterback. Like, wouldn't you think that just doesn't seem right to do? I mean, it was the right decision, but if you didn't know like how bad Trubisky was, you would be like, that's such a dumb move. But realistically, it's a pretty good move. But either way, Foles did not play well. Bears offense didn't play very well. Scored late. Allen Robinson caught a touchdown, but I just don't think the Bears they just didn't play well. So Colts win. Defense came up big. I think that's one of the big things. I think the Colts have one of the better defenses in all of the league. Their defense just came up big in big moments yesterday. I mean, there was a lot of times where the Bears had chances to score and the Colts stopped them. So Bears lose, Colts win. Giants Rams, we already talked about that game. This was a fun, interesting, crazy, wacky game. Browns win 49-38 against the Cowboys. Browns move to 3-1 on the season. The first time they're 3-1 since 2001. So that's 19 years since they were 3-1. So the first time the Browns are 3-1 since 2001. They almost put up 50 points against what I think at this point is probably the worst defense in the NFL in the Dallas Cowboys, okay? The Dallas Cowboys are sitting at 1-3, third in the division, okay? And you're talking about a team now, the Dallas Cowboys are 1-3, the third of the division. And look how much talent this team has. The Cowboys are one of the more talented teams in all the league. Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. I'm naming their offense, people. Dak Prescott, Elliott. They have a very, very, very good offense. Very, very good offensive line. Very, very quarterback. Dak Prescott threw for 500 yards yesterday. When your quarterback throws for 500 yards, I would assume you would win the game. But nope, because their defense almost put up 50. It ain't Dak's problem. And everybody said, oh, don't give the money to Dak Prescott. Well, Dak Prescott's been playing like the man should get paid because he's been playing very well. 500 yards. He threw for 500 yards. 500 yards, including a touchdown to Lamb, a couple other touchdowns in the game. 500 yards, okay? And they still lose by 11. 49-38. Their defense almost lets up 50 points. That would just annoy me. Like, as a Jets fan, that would just annoy me. When my team puts up 38 points, I would expect to win. 38 points and they can't even have a comfortable lead. So the Dallas Cowboys sitting at 1-3 for one main reason. They're the opposite of the New York Giants. Their defense is horrible. Their defense is horrible. Absolutely horrible. They can't stop anything. Browns win 49-38, and the Cowboys sit at 1-3, third in the NFC East. And their defense is horrible. So the defensive coordinator and the Cowboys has to straighten that up because everybody else is doing their job. Offense, I mean, when you put up 38 points, your quarterback throws for 500 yards. I mean, you can't lose that game. You can't lose that game. You throw for 500 yards, and you score 38 points. How in the world do you manage to lose? This defense is ridiculous. So the Cowboys lose in an embarrassment of their defense. Next up, we got the Bengals and the Jaguars. Bengals come out and win. Joe Burrow is the first quarterback in the history of the NFL, I think. First quarterback to throw for 300 yards in his first 3 games of the season. Or for 3-4 games of the season. So that's his first time any rookie quarterback has ever done that. 300 yards in his first games in his first couple of games as a Bengal. So it is a crazy record. Burrow's doing all types of stuff. This is a Bengals team that seems a lot better than 1-2-1. And my friend, I was watching the game with him yesterday, actually brought up a pretty interesting stat. And I actually didn't realize this. After I started to think about it, I knew it. But it is a really wacky stat. So the past 3 years, the first quarterbacks, I think he was this: Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. The past 3 years, the first pick in the NFL draft have been 3 back-to-back quarterbacks. They all recorded a tie before they got a win. Kyler Murray got a tie before he got a win. Mayfield got a tie before he got a win. And now this year, Burrow got a tie before they got a win. So the last 3 years, a quarterback got a tie before the win. I'm pretty sure last year the Cardinals got that tie against the Lions. I don't know if you remember that game. You might have remembered that game. Mayfield got the tie early on in the season. I forget what team was against, and obviously Burrow. So Kyler Murray got the tie last year against the Lions. I don't know if it was the first game or the second game got the tie there. Mayfield got the tie, I think, like one of the first or second games of the season, but I'm not 100% sure who against. And obviously Burrow had the tie last week against the Eagles, and then now obviously this week they won. So it is an interesting stat. The past 3 years, the past 3 first-round picks, Mayfield, Murray, now Burrow, have all recorded ties before they recorded a win. So it's interesting, but Bengals find a way to win, so they're 1-3, 1-2-1. I mean, and they move to 1-2-1 on the season. And the Bengals have been in every single game they've played. They technically should be 2-1-1 on the season, in my opinion. You know, if their kicker makes that kick, AJ Green doesn't have that offensive pass interference, they could be 2-1-1. You know, but that's not the case. So they are sitting at 1-2-1, so the Bengals are playing pretty well this season. They just have to finish off games, and they did yesterday. Now we move on to the Buccaneers and the Chargers. Brady looked the most like we saw prime Tom Brady in a long time yesterday. Threw 5 touchdowns, led the Buccaneers to a 38-31 victory, and the Buccaneers are riding high right now. They're riding high. There's no other way of saying it. The Buccaneers are riding high. They've lost their first game. Everybody was talking about it. I even jumped on the bandwagon. I mean, I was on the bandwagon this whole time about this whole Buccaneers team ain't going to do anything. I still don't believe all the Super Bowl hype. But, you know, they did win yesterday, and the Buccaneers did play well. Mike Evans caught a touchdown. Ronald Jones had a good day. Brady had a good day. Defense played well. Offense played well. Herbert had a couple nice plays for the losing Chargers. You know, Keenan Allen could have very well made an amazing catch. I don't know if you saw it. One of the most amazing catches, could be the early candidate for catch of the year. There was a lot of fancy, nice, very good plays yesterday for both the losing team and the winning team. So I think all around this was actually a pretty good football team. Even though if you're the Chargers, you made some nice plays. Herbert had a nice game. Keenan Allen had a couple nice catches, including one that could very well be an early candidate for catch of the year. One problem with the Chargers that coming out of this game is Austin Eckler hurt his hamstring, never returned. Some people fear it could be a tear. So hopefully that's not the case for the Chargers fans, and for any NFL fan. You never like to see anybody get injured that badly. So hopefully Eckler's back out there healthy. But the Chargers lose. So the Chargers, this is another team that's been in a lot of these games. You know, they've been in almost every single one of their games. They just have not been able to win. They've not been able to really put the cherry on top. I think they're sitting at 1-3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're 1-3. They obviously got the win first week against the Bengals. Then they lost close against the Chiefs. Then they now lost to the Buccaneers. So this is a Chargers team that's been in each one of these games. They were in yesterday's game. You know, they went into the half with a 24-14 lead, and then they just got dominated in the second half and could not find a way to win. So the Buccaneers win. Next up, we got the Seahawks and the Dolphins. Russell Wilson rides high once again. Another big game, 2 touchdowns. Seahawks win 31-23. I thought this was a little closer than I thought. And this is another team, too. The Dolphins, they're hanging around. I mean, this is another team, the Dolphins. You know, I totally understand that the Dolphins are, you know, in a rebuild stage. But the Dolphins and the Chargers, I understand they're losing, but they're in each and every one of these games. What are the Dolphins at? I think the Dolphins are sitting at 2-2 or 1-3. 1-3. But the Dolphins have been in the game. They were in the game against the Bills. They obviously beat the Jaguars. They were in this game. They've been in each and every one of their games. So the Dolphins, even though they're 1-3, they've been in their games. I don't know yet if it's time to hand it over to Tua, because Fitzmagic's been working up some magic of himself. Dolphins do move to 1-3 on the season. A lot of people are asking for Tua to come in, not because of Fitzmagic's poor play, but because the team is 1-3. There's been a lot of rumors swirling before the season. If the team starts off 1-3, the team starts off 1-4, then the Dolphins would hand it over to Tua. But I mean, they're 1-3, but they've got a couple, interesting games coming up. I would say stick to Fitzpatrick at the moment, and if they move to 1-4, 1-5, what's going to hurt you? You're not making the playoffs anyway, but see what Fitzmagic can do. Dolphins lose, Seahawks win. Seahawks move to 4-0 in the season, and a lot of people think have the MVP front runner, which I think too, and the MVP and the best team in the league. So Seahawks win again. Saints, Lions. Saints won 35-29. Drew Brees looked back like Drew Brees himself. Traquan Smith had a good game. He had 2 touchdowns. Kamara had another excellent game. I mean, this is the guy that last year had a down season. Everybody was worried. I was a little worried this year for him, too, because, he had a tough year last year. Obviously, through that whole year, he's playing with a torn MCL, I'm pretty sure. And this year, he's back to old Alvin Kamara, what we saw 2 years ago. Just phenomenal player. Drew Brees looked like old Drew Brees. Had a couple nice throws, good throws to Traquan Smith, got everybody a little bit involved. I think you really can tell that Brees is able to get everybody involved. Without Thomas, he's been able to spread the ball around. With Thomas, it's mainly him and Thomas 70% of the time. The other 20 is probably to Kamara, and the other 10 is to, but Kamara, actually 70% of his passes, 80% of his passes are to Thomas. The other 20 are to other receivers. But since now that Thomas is out, he's been able to spread it. It's about 50-50. Each receiver is getting a little bit of the load. So he's been able to spread out the ball, and he hasn't been playing bad. He struggled. He's been showing cracks early on. They moved to 2-2 on the season. He's been showing cracks early on, but this is definitely a Saints team that looked like the Saints of the past yesterday. So the Saints win 39-21. They pick up a win. It's one of the games. I mean, the Cardinals, Panthers. Panthers win 31-21. I mean, you just can't get much worse than this for the Cardinals. They moved to 2-2 on the season. Murray threw 3 touchdowns, just wasn't a huge yard day for him. And I think he went into the half with 34 yards, 8 of 12 passing. Hopkins had 7 receptions for only 41 yards. He wasn't able to really, get any big burst plays, is what we saw out of him in the first couple of games. This defense, they kind of held him around. Just the offense just wasn't able to make plays. Kenyon Drake left the fourth quarter. Either way, he wasn't having a good game anyway. This is just one of these games where it just wasn't going good for the Cardinals from the start into the finish. I'm pretty sure they went into the half down 20-7. So it was just one of these games, or 21-7. They went into the half down 21-7. This was just one of these games where they just weren't able to really, compete and score a ton. They just weren't able to. Kyler Murray did throw 3 touchdowns and a 116 rating, but he only had 133 yards. His average pass was 5.5 yards was his average, which is not normal for Kyler Murray. And very odd, DeAndre Hopkins only had 9 targets for 7 receptions and only 41 yards, which is very odd for him as well. Some games he gets 41 yards on one play. So this was a Cardinals offense that was slow early. Murray had a big touchdown day, just wasn't one of those big yards day for him that we're sometimes used to seeing. Only 133 yards, although we've seen 250, 300 yards out of him. Just wasn't one of those days for the Cardinals. They struggle again. They moved to 2-2 on the season. Panthers win. Vikings, Texans. Texans move to 0-4. Texans move to 0-4. And the Vikings move to 1-3. So the Vikings win 31-23. I truly believe if the Texans finish 3-13, this is Bill O'Brien. This 0-3 record, or 0-4 record, is because of Bill O'Brien. And I don't care what you say. I mean, I do. I'll respect whatever you say. But if you follow what I'm saying, I don't care about all these people saying, oh, well, it was a good right decision, this, and this. Okay. No. Okay. The reason they are sitting here at 0-4 is because of Bill O'Brien, okay? He messed up Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson loved DeAndre Hopkins, absolutely loved him. Favorite receiver, was very successful together, and decides to give him away for a bucket of balls, pretty much. I'm not trying to be mean to David Johnson. David Johnson, I have in my fantasy team. He's not a bad player, but David Johnson for DeAndre Hopkins, not a great move. Not a great move. So, Watson had a good game. I mean, Watson had 2 touchdowns, 300 yards. It can't get much better than that, and he's thrown into these these not great receivers. I mean, Fuller had 6 receptions, 108 yards, and a touchdown. Stills had a touchdown. I mean, this is just one of these seasons where the Texans, man, they just, all these years they haven't been able to get to that next level involving playoffs. And now all of a sudden you're 0-4, and this is because of Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien doesn't make that move. Watson, every game's throwing 300 yards, and 200 of them are to Hopkins. So this is all on Bill O'Brien. And just some of the plays that he's running, I just don't agree with either. This is one of these games where the Texans were in it, but they really weren't at the same time. This is one of these games. Texans looked flat early. Hopkins picked it up definitely yesterday, but they're 0-4. They got to fix things quickly. Now I move on to the Ravens and the Redskins. I mean, Ravens played well. Lamar Jackson looked back like old Lamar Jackson we're used to seeing. Mark Andrews had a good game. He struggled against the Chiefs. I think he only had two receptions out of 9 targets, so he struggled against the Chiefs, was able to bounce back this game. This whole Ravens team had a bounce-back game. Defense played well. Offense played well. Overall, a good game for the Ravens. They win 31-17, so a good bounce-back for the Ravens. That's sometimes what happens. You struggle one game, you start to hear all this chatter, blah, 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 and then you bounce back and win big, and you move to 3-1 in the season. Ravens win. So Steelers game was postponed, obviously. Now, today we have 2 games on. 7:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS are the Chiefs and the Patriots. And then 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time are the Packers and the Falcons on ESPN. So let's move into the Chiefs-Patriots game first, since this is the first game. Chiefs come in at 10.5-point favorites. Over-under is 48.5. I already know I take the over on the game. I already predicted my score. Let me just see what it is. I had this game being a decently closer game if Cam Newton played, but instead Hoyer's playing. I think Brian Hoyer's going to play. I just don't foresee them having a chance in this game. I think just if this becomes a shootout, it's going to be over shootout in the Chiefs' favor. Chiefs win 35-21. I have Chiefs win 35-21. So I don't think that I take the over on the over under of 48.5. I have 56. I think the Chiefs win by more than 10.5. I just think the Chiefs just come out and they really play well. Chris Jones, he's questionable with a groin. If he does play, that's big. If he doesn't play, that's a problem. He's a big player. Edelman, Mason, Michelle, Wayne, and Butler, and Davis is out, are some of the guys who are questionable for today's game. Edelman's been Newton's favorite target by far. Wonder what he's going to do today with Hoyer there. I just don't think Hoyer's going to be able to generate enough offense to compete with this Chiefs offense. And I know the Patriots defense is decent, but I just think this Chiefs offense is just overpowering. I just think they win. I think they cover 35-21, win by 14. And I take the over on the over-under 40.5. Chiefs win. Now I move on to the Packers and the Falcons. Packers are 6-point favorites. Over-under is 56.5. A lot of people have this game as, a lot of people have this game as a high-scoring game. 56.5. 6-point favorites are the Packers. Here's my problem with the Falcons. They have a solid offense. I think this will be a shootout of a game because you look at the offenses. Falcons every week have put up big numbers. Packers have put up big numbers. Falcons' defense is horrible. They might only be behind the Cowboys in defense. They're horrible. And this is a Packers offense that's very good. I think it's going to be a shootout of a game. I think the Packers win 38-17. The reason I think it's a shootout is because, and also, the Falcons can't hold a lead. Falcons might be without Ridley and Jones, though. That's the one problem. They might be without both of them, so you have to watch out for that. But I think the Packers come in 6-point favorites. I think they win by a lot more than 6. Even though Adams is probably out, he's doubtful. They still have Aaron Jones. They still have Rodgers. They still have Scanlon. They still have a couple good players here and there. They got a lot of good players involved last week. I think they will win this game again. Packers win. I take the over on the over-under 38-17. That is is that the over of 56.5? I think it is, right? No, it shouldn't be. Actually. Okay, I take the under. of the over-under 56.5 because I'm right at 55. So I take the under on the over-under 56.5, and the Packers win. So, Packers win by a lot. They cover. So, Packers win. So, those are my game picks. Chiefs win, and Packers win is what I think. So, another great day of football in the books. And tonight we got obviously 2 games on for the NFL and 2 games on for the MLB. One at 4 o'clock, one at 8 o'clock for the Yankees game. So, here's the fantasy results today. So, the fantasy this week wasn't amazing. I wasn't amazing for one league. Definitely wasn't amazing for one league. My other league, I'm still playing players. He's still playing players. So I'll go to the league that I am currently winning in. So I'm winning 75-73. I'm projected to win 122-99. He's still got Aaron Jones and Travis Kelce. I've still got Aaron Rodgers, Todd Gurley, and Harrison Butker. I took the gamble and kept in Devontae Adams. That obviously did not pay off, as Devontae Adams won't play today. Adams' hamstring said he won't play today. Won't play in Monday's game against the Falcons. Ryan Wood of Green Bay Press Gazette reports. I tweeted something out earlier on Twitter page. Says he loves to play, but he would love to play, wants to play, he feels 100%, but the Packers are stopping him from doing that. So tonight I have Rodgers going. Did have Adams going. I'm hoping that's kind of just a fake out. I mean, I haven't heard much other, but got Gurley and Butker. So I'm assuming I still win because I think Rodgers puts up 25-30. I'm assuming I still win this game. It might be closer than what I did because you're missing Adams, who's very good, could put you up 15 points. So I might be missing a little bit. But as long as Jones doesn't go off for one of those 40-point games, I should be good. I understand Kelce tonight, but I don't think Kelce's going to go off for 40. I just don't think he will. I had a lot of big production out of a lot of big players yesterday. Elliott got me 12. Carson got me 22. Woods got me only 3. He struggled. Kittle got me 25. And Rams defense got me 12. Rams defense had a solid game. They had another very, 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 very solid game. But what was great about Carson is Chris Carson was not expected to play. He was supposed to miss 2 to 3 weeks, or 1 to 2 weeks, they said. He practiced good this week and was back out today, and I find it funny. I was a little worried putting him in, even though he was back out there. I was a little worried because I was worried he wasn't going to be 100% and possibly re-injure it, or they weren't going to play him that many snaps. But sure enough, he got 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he got 22 points for me. So Chris Carson did just fine. It was just funny because I was sitting there like, I was sitting on Sunday like, do I put him in? Do I not? Do I take the gamble? Because I was a little worried. Like, okay, he practiced fully this week, but I'm just worried he possibly re-injuring it because it seemed like he just came back so quickly. It seemed like it was one of these injuries that he could very well be out for a little bit. He came back quickly, and all of a sudden, he's playing, and all of a sudden he put up 22 points. So I'm pleasantly surprised with that. I'm very happy, but it was definitely interesting there. I was sitting there, and I was like, should I not? What should I do? And sure enough, I did, and obviously it wasn't a gamble, but sure enough, the decision did pay off in a positive way. So right now, I'm 75-73. I'm winning. Hopefully tonight I can cap it off and win. I think Rodgers will have a good game against that not so good Falcons defense, and I hope that Gurley plays well as well. As for my other league, just couldn't come around on it. Watson at 20, Kenyon Drake at 30, Robinson at 10, Hill plays tonight, Evans at 18, Allen at 6, Ertz at 2, McKinnon at 15, Rams defense at 12, Prater at 3. And my bench is Hillen at 2, Breeze at 15, Henry at 3, Jones had none. And Gibson at 18. Jones had 1 catch for 9 yards in their game. Gibson at 18 points, who is the running back for the Redskins. I will probably move to 2-2 on the season. They've still got Mason Crosby going tonight, but I don't foresee T.Y. Hilton or Tyreek Hill possibly putting up 40 points. 40-something points, 50 points. I don't foresee that happening, but hopefully it does, but I just don't foresee that happening. So, I lose in that league more than likely, and then my other league, I will hopefully win. I don't want to jinx anything, but more than likely I probably will win in this league, as long as Rodgers plays well, and Gurley plays well, and Butker plays well. So hopefully that's the case there, and then I could win in this league. Players you could start tonight if your quarterback's still going. I would stick with Ryan. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Obviously, I do take the under for the 56.5, but I think that's a little wild of a over-under. I do take the under, but I still do think that Matt Ryan still got it in him. He's had a couple very good weeks, especially for fantasy terms. He's had a very, very couple good weeks. Minus the losses for the Falcons, he's had many, many good weeks. A lot of huge yard games, a lot of big touchdown games. So Matt Ryan's played really well. If you have him, I would keep him. Rodgers or Ryan, I would probably go with Rodgers because I do think they'll score more. But if Matt Ryan's your only quarterback, I wouldn't be concerned with him. Gurley, I have him starting. I have him starting. Just gonna kind of throw that out there. I think he'll do pretty well. Hopefully, even if he can't get me a touchdown, hopefully he at least gives me somewhere around that 9 to 11 point range. I would be fine with that. Actually, I wouldn't be 9 points. I'm not too hyped about. I would be fine with if he can give me 12. 11 to 12 would be great. If he can give you a touchdown, he ain't going to give you that many yards. But if he can give you a touchdown, 40 yards, there you go. Boom, that's a solid day for Gurley. So Gurley is another guy there. Devontae Adams, obviously. If you have like a Calvin Ridley or an Adams, I would definitely sit Adams and put Ridley in. Sadly, I don't have that. But, it is what it is. So, if you have Adams in your lineup and you don't have anybody else to sub him, I would not go out and drop Adams and pick up somebody else because it's going to be very difficult to get Devontae Adams back. So, it just is one of those things where you just have to be prepared and hopefully you can get him back. So, Devontae Adams is out there, Aaron Rodgers is out there, all those guys. I would start them if I were you. Adams, obviously, I wouldn't go out of your way and drop Devontae Adams. Unless if for some stupid reason, I shouldn't say stupid, because unless if you're first, I just wouldn't drop Adams. Don't drop Adams and pick up like Gage or something, Russell Gage or something like that. Just don't do it. If Adams, now if it's 1 point and you only have Adams left and it's like a 1 point game, I don't know. I don't know if it's risk giving up a player like Adams because you might not get him back. Unless if you're first on the waiver order, you might not get him back. So, if it's a 1 point game, that's your decision. Because I would personally, as much as I don't even know what I would do in that situation. Luckily, that's not my situation I'm in. But, it's really up to you at that point. I wouldn't, it is one of these interesting things. I did, in fact, take the gamble on Devontae Adams. He did, in fact, and he's not playing. But I took the gamble on him. I hate when they say players are game time decisions and they play either later on Sunday or, they play on Monday night. It always stinks. But, it is what it is. You just got to deal with it sometimes. So Devontae Adams isn't playing, but I still have Rodgers, Gurley, and Butker tonight to play. So that should be interesting. But whatever situation you're in, I would just see. I just don't want to answer that. I'm okay. All right. So anyway. So, so that's what I got for the football aspect of this podcast. We still have college football to run through. Let's just run through some of the college football games yesterday. Clemson won, or the other day. Oklahoma lost again. They just can't get anything correct. Oklahoma lost. Iowa State won. Georgia won. They crushed Auburn. Georgia won. Arkansas beat Mississippi State. Mississippi State, one of those teams, too, coming off of a big win, did not show up on Saturday. They lost. LSU won. SMU won. North Carolina won. TCU won over Texas. Texas, again, they almost lost last week. Now this week they definitely lost for good. TCU won. NC State won. Tennessee won. Florida won. BYU won. That Florida game, South Carolina kept it close for most of the game, but Florida ran away with it late. BYU won. Oklahoma State won. Cincinnati won. Alabama won. And Tulsa won. So those are the college football scores. Now I move on to the MLB games. Today it's the Yankees versus the Rays at 8:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TBS. And then also Astros Athletics on TBS at 4:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So those are the two games for today for the ALDS. Garrett Cole versus Blake Snell and Lance McCullers versus Bassett for the Astros A's game. That's the pitching matchup. And for the Yankees Rays game, it's Garrett Cole and Snell. This is how. I always do this. So this is how the bracket looks right now. So I always do this. I do my that's my bracket I projected that I think could happen. This is my bracket that's actually where I'm following around. So right now the division series are set. It's the Rays, Yankees, Astros, A's, Dodgers, Padres, Marlins, Braves are the matchups for the LDS series. ALDS starts today, and then tomorrow will be the NLDS starts tomorrow. So TBS, it is on. So TBS, forget what channel that is if you're on like a cable, but I'm sure you'll find it. So TBS, it's on. It's a good network. I don't mind TBS. So they'll be doing the ALDS and the ALCS. So should be exciting. I'm excited tonight. I'm very excited. Obviously, I got my Voight jersey on now, or Voight shirt on now, but I'm gonna put on the Cole right after the podcast. So Yankees are favorites, Athletics are favorites. We're gonna start off with the A's game. I think the A's will win. I obviously have the A's going all the way. I understand the Astros are pitching McCullers. The Astros don't have the bullpen depth. They just don't have that bullpen depth they always have, and I think once again it goes back to the A's, and they did they did the same thing against the White Sox. Big moments and big times in the game, they came up with clutch hitting against the White Sox in Game 3 of that series. Same thing with this series. I think this game could very well come down to a late game situation. A's have big hitting and big moments of the game. I think the A's win this game. 4:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TBS. And then the Yankees-Rays is the nightcap at 8:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TBS. Garrett Cole versus Blake Snell. Hopefully, if Garrett Cole pitches like he does the other series, then I definitely the win. I say Yankees win this game 3-1. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think it's a pitching duel. I think the Yankees will win. I think our bullpen's fresh. I think Cole will have another solid start. Yankees just have to, and I said this before too, the Yankees have to get rid of that. Don't care that you went 2-10 against the Rays or 2-8 against the Rays in the regular season. Clear it out of your head. Forget about all the brawls. Forget about all the situation. Forget about it. Just go out there and play. So the Yankees, I think, will win this game. So the ALDS starts today. Very exciting. I'm excited. Hopefully you are as well. We'll have it all covered on this podcast. It's going to be exciting. I mean, the ALDS is just going to be exciting. I mean, the winner of this series goes to the ALCS, so that's big. So, Yankees-Rays should be a lot of fun. Just waiting for game time. That's really all I can say. It's just all I can say, really. It's just we're here. The Yankees are ready. The Yankees are ready. They looked ready against the Indians. Hopefully they could look ready today and they could come out with a big win. That's all I'm asking for. Just win a World Series, please. So go Yankees. Tonight we got 2 NFL games, 2 MLB games, a lot of sports action today. So a full day of sports upcoming once again. So enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your sports day. Go Yankees. Hopefully we could pull out another big win. And, with all that being said, have a good rest. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.